is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's 5 o'clock here on your Thursday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. Here's what's making headlines on this July 16th. Governor Eric Holcomb says Indiana is pushing pause on its reopening plan for a little while longer. Working for you, we'll take a look at the new timeline and how the state is handling growing demand for testing. Doctors' offices and hospitals have multiple restrictions in place during the pandemic, including on visitors. A mother is now voicing her frustrations after her husband was not allowed at their newborn's appointments. And Black Lives Matter protesters took to downtown again, calling for justice in the cases of Drayshawn Reed and Mikhail Rose. While organizers say there will be more demonstrations to come. But first, we do need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home this morning. Todd, it is a windy morning out there. What does that mean for our Thursday?
You know, it's just going to be breezy here off and on throughout the day, Lauren, with the passage of the front that went through, and that's why the wind's kind of kicked up a little bit. Most of the rain has come to an end, but still kind of a dreary look as you look from downtown past Lucas Oil Stadium off to the south as the clouds are firmly in place. And we're going to start off with quite a bit of cloud cover for this Thursday, and eventually we'll get into a little bit of sunshine, I think. You notice as you look at the satellite radar picture, there's a few spotty showers here and there getting ready to stream through the metro area, one just off to the west of downtown towards Speedway right now, and that's just about it as far as the rain goes. So going forward throughout the day, it's definitely more of a cloudy day than a wet day. Yes, there'll be a spot shower or two, but anything you do see will be very, very light. Temperatures are in the 70s this morning. They don't do a whole lot due to the cloud cover in place this morning, and as we thin the clouds a little bit later on this afternoon, that's when we'll get up into the low to mid 80s. Enjoy the briefly cooler temperatures today, because tomorrow we're back in the 90s. More on that coming up in just a little bit, Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out the door this Thursday morning. Here's a look in the downtown area at I-65 and I-70 at the South Split. Traffic in this area is moving along up to speed. Keep in mind at the South Split, you will not be able to get on westbound I-70 due to the closure between there and all the way over to 465 in the airport area on the west side. That's for that long-term NDOT construction project set to wrap up July 28th. So we'll keep you updated on that. Local traffic to Meridian Street is still open. However, if you are on that ramp system, everything else at the South Split is traveling up to speed. So the governor announced Indiana will remain in the current stage of Indiana's Back on Track plan a little longer than first anticipated. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning with what that means for you. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. So the governor announced that we are going to stay in the current stage that we are in. That is the 4.5 part of the plan, as opposed to what we were supposed to do, which is move on to stage 5 this weekend. So we are kind of slumping as we continue to move through this process. Previously, the state was expected to move into that next stage in this coming weekend. The decision comes as the state experiences some COVID-19 trends that the health commissioner calls concerning. Dr. Christina Bach says the number of positive cases has gone up for the second straight week, and the 7-day positivity rate has steadily increased since June. It was just over 4% as of June 18th, just over 6% the week of July 4th, and around 7% as of July 11th. Dr. Bach says testing capacity is becoming an issue again, in part because of supply and demand issues caused by a spike in other states.
We know residents are experiencing longer waits to get their test results and that they don't know what to do in the meantime. These are external factors that are beyond our control, and we have become skilled at adapting to them. Despite these challenges, we are able to expand our free testing this week with an additional 11 sites around the state.
Anyone who lives or works in Indiana can get a free COVID test through the state. There are no other requirements. You can register at lhi.care/COVID testing or by calling 888-634-1116. Walk-ins are also accepted. Now, Governor Holcomb also announced that he plans to revise part of his executive order, specifically the part that refers to gatherings of 250 people. So we are expecting some further restrictions on that. And of course, as soon as we have those details, we'll bring them to you. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. With the extension, the streets in the city of Indianapolis closed to help promote the outdoor dining will also say blocked off. The Department of Public Works announced the closures of Mass Ave, Georgia Street, and Broad Ripple Avenue. Those will be extended through the Labor Day holiday weekend. They were originally scheduled to reopen on Monday. Here's a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers here in the state of Indiana. The State Department of Health confirming 700 new cases. That brings the state's total to more than 53,000 cases. 10 new deaths were also reported. More than 586,000 Hoosiers have been tested for the virus so far. About 9% of those tests have come back positive. At 5:05, just like K through 12 students, those heading back to college are also facing many challenges. Many students taking in-person classes may not be able to see their families during the semester to avoid spreading the virus. In Indiana, there's been an increase in positive tests for those under the age of 30. It's according to data from Regenstrief. There is concern that those young adults will carry the disease to others even if they don't need extreme care. For students returning to campus, experts say families should have a discussion about safety.
Parents need to talk to their kids about is that, hey, if you're going to go out and you're going to party and you're not going to take precautions, then you might need to stay away.
Many colleges like IU and Purdue have released their own guidelines like temperature checks and mask requirements. You can find more on those on our website, theindychannel.com. A local mother is frustrating this morning because her husband is not able to come to their newborn's doctor appointments due to the pandemic. Our Kelsey Anderson explains her frustrations as others are able to go to dinners and have large parties.
Because of COVID-19, many expecting mothers are having to go to doctor's appointments alone and only have one person there for delivery. And mothers like Chelsea Davis Granberry are asking hospitals to ease those restrictions. Navy June Granberry was born nearly a month ago. She was diagnosed at birth with Down syndrome. Because of her diagnosis, Navy has had several doctor's appointments and only one parent is able to go. Her mom, Chelsea Davis Granberry, is asking hospitals to ease the restrictions so at least one more person can come to all the appointments for expecting mothers and newborns.
Pregnancy is already hard. Pregnancy in a pandemic is even harder. And to go through that alone at your appointments, for fathers not to be able to hear their first baby's heartbeat on the ultrasounds, or people that receive news that need their support person there, I think it's creating more of a problem than it is helping.
Granberry tells me she's glad she opted out of getting the 10-week blood draw that tests for Down syndrome because she likely would have found out her daughter's diagnosis alone. I did reach out to St. Vincent Hospital. That's where Navy is having her appointments, and they tell me that they are following CDC recommendations and guidelines, but they do offer iPads so a second parent or guardian can participate in the appointments virtually. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV 6.
Kelsey, thank you for that story. The time right now is 5:08. Protests resumed downtown last night, continuing to call for justice in the case of Drejon Reed and Mikhail Rose, two men shot and killed by IMPD officers within 24 hours. Reed was killed back on May 6th after IMPD says that he exchanged gunfire with officers following a chase. The incident was captured on Reed's Facebook Live. His family's legal team says Reed did not shoot. Mikhail Rose was killed after exchanging gunfire with officers. The chief of police says that the incident may have been planned as an ambush. Black Lives Matter protesters are again calling for transparency from investigators in both cases.
Fire the officers who killed Drejon and Mikhail, release the autopsy report to the families, and release a 911 report. But I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, so until it stops, we'll be out here.
Last week, we learned the autopsy report for Reed was completed weeks ago, but the special prosecutor on the case has asked it not be released to the family because it might impede that investigation. You can find the latest on those cases on our website, theindychannel.com. Breaking from overnight, the Supreme Court has cleared the way for a second federal execution in as many days as a U.S. judge originally halted the execution for Wesley Ira Perkey out in Terre Haute. This after his lawyer said he suffers from dementia and can no longer grasp why he's slated to die. The court voted 5-4, allowing it to proceed. Perkey was convicted in the 1998 killing of a girl in Kansas City, Missouri. A local school district will become the first in the state to offer a new barricading safety tool to help protect students and staff. Noblesville Schools has installed about 1,000 new door barricading devices in all school buildings across the district. The devices create a safe zone within the school buildings during a crisis, allowing students and staff to fully barricade themselves in classrooms within seconds. They can also be deactivated from the inside the classroom, and they'll still allow first responders to get inside. This comes as a little more than 2 years after a student and teacher were shot at Noblesville West Middle School. Both survived. It is 5:10. Let's toss things over to Todd right now for a look at today's forecast. Hey, TK.
Lauren, good morning to you. Good morning, everybody, on this Thursday. Some of you saw some decent rainfall yesterday evening and overnight. Not a ton of rain in downtown Indianapolis. And this morning, we're just dealing with a few lingering, very light rain showers out there. Nothing really to worry about, even at this early hour if you're getting ready to head off on the roadways or maybe for a walk as we get a little closer to sunrise. You don't have to worry about these showers. They're going to be very, very light if you do see one at all. And as we expand out, there's not a whole lot going on off to our west. You don't have to worry about those storms in Oklahoma City. They are obviously a ways away, and they're not even heading in our direction. So grab that extra cup of coffee as we go throughout the course of the morning hours. Temperatures will be in the 70s. We'll have more clouds and then sunshine here throughout the day today. And because of that, temperatures will be running a little bit cooler than they were yesterday when we got up close to 90 degrees today in the low to mid 80s. But the 90s, they are set to return starting tomorrow. More on that and the weekend forecast coming up in just a little bit. Lauren.
Todd, thank you. Congress may stay longer in Washington to discuss a second stimulus plan. Coming up, the push from both sides of the aisle to help Americans and the economy. Less than 2 weeks after Victor Oladipo announced he would not play when the NBA restarts this summer, the Pacers star is having second thoughts. Still ahead, why he now says he may compete. It's 5:12. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Congress may not be leaving the office as planned this August. There is a push to have talks about another economic stimulus package to help the country cope with the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. John Lawrence has the details.
While schools across the country are working on plans on how to reopen, the House of Representatives might be delaying or skipping its August recess.
We have to have a bill, and we will have a bill, and hope we will have it sooner rather than later because people really need to have it.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's willing to stay in Washington to get another relief bill to President Trump.
This isn't about government and philosophy or any political differences of opinion. This is about meeting the needs of the American people at the time of a pandemic that has lost about 40 million jobs.
Lending a financial hand to the American workforce is something that has bipartisan backing.
We know we can't shut the economy down again. That cannot happen. We've learned there are consequences from being cooped up at home.
But, as always, it's a question of whether Republicans and Democrats come to an agreement. As the push for a proposal is in its early stages, Americans are attempting to cope.
My business still hasn't picked up. COVID seems to be getting worse and not better. So at least here in the city of Atlanta, we're in the process, it seems like, of going back to phase one.
You know, am I going to go out and buy something to eat, or am I going to purchase a medication, or am I going to, save my funds to go to a doctor or put gas in my car?
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, the CDC will no longer be the hub for collecting coronavirus hospital data. Instead, a private tech firm will collect the numbers and then report them directly to the White House first. It's a move the Trump administration says will speed up data collection and give a more complete picture. That information includes things like bed occupancy and the severity level of COVID patients, and also PPE supplies. The CDC will still be in charge of collecting case numbers and deaths. As COVID-19 cases continue to increase, more stores are requiring you to wear masks if you want to shop there. Kroger, Kohl's, and Walmart are all announcing new policies. Kohl's and Walmart will be enforcing that rule on Monday. Kroger says theirs will start next Wednesday. Some college students out in Los Angeles are getting an extra incentive to study from home. The University of Southern California says it will hand out $4,000 in financial aid for both the upcoming fall and spring semesters. The money will go to the undergrads who would otherwise receive aid for room and board. The only condition is that students will have to take online classes and stay home those 2 semesters. The university says it made the move because the coronavirus outbreak made it hard for students to plan ahead. Even though many students will not return to in-person classes, back-to-school sales are starting to be record-breaking. Because of the online structure, many parents are buying more laptops and computer accessories. The National Retail Federation expects families to spend an average of $790 on school supplies this year. That's an increase of $100 from last year. Total back-to-school spending is projected to reach more than $101 billion, surpassing last year's total of $8.7 billion. All right, let's get a check of our forecast. It is Thursday. Todd, what can we expect as we head out the door this morning?
You know, a little bit of cloud cover out there this morning, Lauren, and we have a few lingering showers. Yesterday, we were tracking that front that brought the severe weather to Illinois, and as expected, it weakened as it made its way into Indiana, so we avoided the severe weather. But going forward throughout the course of the day today, we are going to maintain at least a small chance of a spot shower or two. I don't think we get into any thunderstorms, but there could be a stray shower or two virtually at any point throughout the day today. But if you did see it, it was going to be very, very light, or it is going to be very, very light. So I wouldn't really alter your plans at all if you do have them outside. In fact, it should be a pretty nice day on the golf course with the additional cloud cover that is out there. The heat and humidity will build for the weekend, and then there's a daily chance of spot storms in the forecast. But again, nothing real major going on. Here's what's left of the shower activity on radar. You can see that there's a little bit of light rain down towards Mooresville, then in and around the metro area here. We're dealing with a few spotty showers as you work your way up Binford Boulevard towards Interstate 69 there, and eventually into Fishers, a few light showers, and then we'll slide to the north. And most of the rainfall here in northern locations is now pushing out of the Peru and Marion area and into Fort Wayne. So unless you're heading up Interstate 69 towards Fort Wayne in the immediate future, you're not going to run into any of that significant rain. So going forward, as you see on TrueCast throughout the day today, as we quickly run hour by hour, especially in northern locations, there could be a stray shower, but otherwise we're just dealing with mostly cloudy skies. And we'll start to thin the clouds and filter some sunshine in here as we work our way into the afternoon hours. But take a look at the flag, fully extended. Pretty good breeze out there this morning, and we have those cloudy conditions anywhere you go. We're sitting in the 70s in most locations. Muncie right now is at 80 degrees with the clouds in place. Temperatures don't do a whole lot this morning, and then we'll slowly climb up into that 83 to 85 degree range for most of us throughout the afternoon hours today. And while that's a little bit below normal, you need to take advantage of that because starting tomorrow, we're back into the sunshine. It's a bright and sunny day for us. And with that added sunshine, high temperatures are going to be up right around the 90 degree mark. And then even going forward in this forecast, the weekend is going to be the two hottest days, 93 to 94 degrees, both Saturday and Sunday, a spot storm in the afternoon. But it's very humid as well, so that's going to put heat index values up over 100 degrees throughout much of the afternoon hours on those 2 days. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at I-70. This is out on the west side near Ronald Reagan Parkway near the airport. You can see it's the end of that construction zone that spans between the south split downtown all the way over here in those westbound lanes. Traffic is getting by past this in the open lanes just fine this morning. We'll continue to keep you updated on that project, and right now there are no crashes to report around the metro area to slow down your morning commute. Well, the Rose Parade out in Pasadena will not be held this year due to COVID-19. This is the first time in 75 years the New Year's Day tradition has been canceled. The parade last went on hiatus from 1942 to 1945, and that was because of World War II. Organizers say they want to host a smaller local celebration to take its place. Meanwhile, the Rose Bowl college football game is still on as of now. So will he or won't he? That's the question this morning about Pacers star Victor Oladipo. As the team returned to practice Wednesday after a day off, there's some growing optimism that Oladipo will play when the season resumes. He originally said he was not going to play to avoid re-injuring his leg, but that was before he started working out with the team down in Orlando.
You know, coming down here and, getting some practices in, getting my feet under me, going out there playing with the guys. There's a possibility that I could play. I'm definitely trying to. So I'm coming out here and working every day, working hard every day, trying to help my team, trying to help myself.
The Pacers play Portland next week in their first scrimmage of the resumed season. We can join Our Day First tomorrow night on the RTV6 Facebook page to honor graduating seniors. He's hosting the National Football Foundation Central Indiana Chapter annual Scholastic Awards. 15 student athletes from 14 area schools are selected, and there are special honors like Collegiate and Courage Awards. Again, that's tomorrow night at 7:30, only on the RTV6 Facebook page. A jewelry store is turning its remaining stock into $1 million worth of buried treasure. How you can get in on this treasure hunt just after the break. Stick around. Welcome back. A new treasure hunt will soon be underway in Michigan, and about $1 million worth of gold and jewelry is up for grabs. The pandemic is forcing Johnny and Amy Perry to close their family jewelry store, so they decided to make a real-life treasure hunt out of the store's remaining inventory. They buried stashes of vintage engagement rings, coins, and more all across Michigan. Each stash is worth about $4,000 and has a GPS tracker for monitoring. The hunt begins August 1st, and clues to the treasure cost $49. Very interesting. All right, Todd, are we getting any treasures or special treats in our forecast for today? Hopefully it's a little bit cooler if we are able to get outside.
You know, it will be cooler today. You know, the trade-off for the cooler temperatures will be a little bit more in the way of cloud cover out there. But with the temperatures heading into the 90s for the weekend, I don't think you'll mind it all that much. As far as the rain showers go, there's a few lingering ones here that in or around the metro area, but everything's very, very light, and they're all very spotty as well. So do not let the threat of any rain in this forecast deter you from any of your plans, because even if you did see a shower, it's very light and it's very brief. We'll talk more about the heat that's heading our way coming up in just a little bit.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Indiana is not moving forward with Governor Holcomb's back on track plan. Now at 5:30, why state leaders say we need to hold steady in the current stage.
And the pandemic has placed strict limits on hospital visitations. This morning, we're hearing a mother's frustration as her husband can't be at the side of their newborn.
The time right now is 5:30. I want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Raphael, thanks for joining us from your home studio down in Johnson County.
As always, as we continue to socially distance, welcome to the official RTV6 living room and Todd Clausen. I walked outdoors for just a few seconds, a little bit breezy, but really muggy outside.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing this morning. The humidity has come way up, and that breeze is trying to help things out, but we have the solid cloud deck, so there's not really going to be much improvement in the humidity throughout the day today. So it's a muggy day for us, and it's getting off to kind of a damp start. As you can see, as you look from downtown to the north, look how quickly those clouds are moving, and that's because of that wind that, Raphael, you mentioned. Lauren mentioned it earlier as well. That's one of the things she noticed as she made her way into the station. So it's not the best start of weather days for us here across the area, but it's not a terrible start as most of the heavy rainfall has come to an end. There's a few showers in and around the metro area, but the bulk of the rainfall is to the north. We're in the 70s right now, with the exception of Muncie. It's at 80 degrees. These temperatures will hold pretty steady throughout the course of the morning hours. And then as we continue into the afternoon, we'll thin the clouds a bit for some sunshine throughout the day. But by 2 p.m., 80 degrees. As you see there, the humidity is back, and our high temperature that gets up to right around 85 degrees. Tomorrow we're back up into the 90s. More on that heat wave coming our way in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you. Indiana's progress is on pause when, we're going to go to traffic right now. Jumping ahead of myself, this is I-465 over on the east side, taking a look at traffic for your Thursday. The good news right now on the roads, Raphael, is there are no crashes, no major delays to slow down the commute. Now back to Indiana's progress. It's on pause when it comes to reopening our state due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So, Lauren, Indiana will remain on 4.5 for several more days. Our Alyssa Donovan joins us live this morning to explain what that all means. Alyssa, what does that mean, 4.5 for a few more days?
So 4.5 is what the governor announced at the beginning of the month. So basically it means that nothing is going to change. We are going to stay at 4.5. We are not moving on to stage 5 yet, which we were expecting to do shortly. But for the next 2 weeks, we're staying at 4.5. And there's a reason for that. It's because we are seeing an increase in cases in Indiana. For the second week in a row, the number of positive cases has increased in the state, with more than 4,300 new cases in just the past week. State officials say they are responding by consistently ramping up testing capacity and sending strike teams to critical areas. We're told that hospitalizations due to COVID-19 are also increasing. One issue that the state is running into is supply and demand.
While we continue to increase our testing capacity, we are having to adapt to the supply and demand issues that have been created by the significant spikes that we've seen in other states across the country. This is similar to what we saw back in the spring and has impacted our ability to get some supplies. It has also increased the wait time for our lab results in many cases.
Through at least the end of the month, outdoor events like festivals, parades, and fairs can operate at reduced capacity. Bars and nightclubs can stay at 50% capacity, and restaurants are at 75% capacity. So none of those things are changing over the next 2 weeks here. So those who are having gatherings of more than 250 people also have to have a safety plan that is approved by the state. So things are staying the same for a couple weeks yet here, and of course we'll let you know as soon as we are expected to enter stage 5. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. At that weekly briefing, Governor Holcomb also answered some questions about our schools reopening. He says he met with the Indiana State Teachers Association, and the state and the association are working together to make sure that that is done safely.
We're all in constant communication about, yes, those protocols and that guidance and making sure that there is resources. Another thing that was brought up in that meeting, and I think it was a spot on, is making sure that schools have access to the resources they need to make sure they're clean and safe for students and faculty, teachers, superintendents, et cetera, to be in those buildings.
Well, the governor says he is strongly against withholding funding from schools.
New this morning, a local mother is really beside herself because her husband is not able to go to their newborn's doctor's appointments because of the pandemic. Our Kelsey Anderson explains her frustration as others are able to host parties as well as going out to dinner. Kelsey, good morning.
Because of COVID-19, many expecting mothers are having to go to doctor's appointments alone and only have one person there for delivery. And mothers like Chelsea Davis Granberry are asking hospitals to ease those restrictions.
I struggle with anxiety, so I was very anxious, from the beginning, especially because mid through my pregnancy, I had to do the appointments and everything alone.
Chelsea Davis Granberry gave birth nearly a month ago to her third child, Navy June Granberry. She says during her pregnancy, her experience going to appointments was okay.
The hospitals did try to make it very normal for us. Not a lot of talk about COVID or, what's going on. The only abnormal part was everybody's wearing masks.
But when Navy was born, doctors diagnosed her with Down syndrome.
They can detect Down syndrome on ultrasounds, but they had no indication that on her ultrasound she had Down syndrome. So it was 100% a birth diagnosis.
And today she says she's grateful they found at birth because that meant her husband was there to support her.
I'm very emotional, so had I found out at my appointments without him there or without anybody there, I don't know that I would have been able to handle that.
Now that Navy is home, Granberry says her frustration is growing because her husband isn't able to come to her occupational and physical therapy appointments.
They're actually working with her at such a young age, telling us exercises, telling us things to do because she does have Down syndrome. And when I'm taking all of that in by myself along with all the other information, one, it's hard to remember, and two, it's just very emotional.
She tells me she agrees the hospitals need to keep people safe, but she's hoping the restrictions will ease soon so her husband can go to the appointments with her.
Right, we can go out to eat, we can have parties, we can, invite people into our homes, but he can't come to one he can't come to our appointments together. And it makes me sad.
I did reach out to St. Vincent Hospital. That's where Navy is having her appointments, and they tell me that they are following CDC recommendations and guidelines, but they do offer iPads so a second parent or guardian can participate in the appointments virtually. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. It is 5:38, and this morning we're learning more about a shooting that took place in Brownsburg Tuesday, leaving 2 men dead. Police say 22-year-old Joshua Hayes attacked 36-year-old Seth Robertson unprovoked. Investigators say that Hayes initially shot at Robertson and another man, and the two worked in the Brownsburg cemetery. They tried to run away, but police say Hayes shot and killed Robertson. When Hayes went after the second man, police say a bystander shot and killed Hayes to try and stop him. There's still no known motive or connection between Hayes and the victims.
Lauren, this morning, let's take you to Howard County. Concerned citizens in the state of Idaho helped alert investigators to an animal cruelty case in Kokomo. The FBI raided a home on South 300 West in Kokomo on Tuesday. Wednesday, federal attorneys announced the arrest of 19-year-old Crystal Scott. Now, she's accused of posting videos of herself torturing and killing cats and dogs. She's charged with making and distributing animal crush videos. That's a video that shows the extreme mutilation, torture, and killing of animals.
So what safety changes would you like to see right here in Indianapolis? The city is asking that question and providing a really simple way for you to share your feedback. Officials say a new survey will help to redefine justice and public safety. It asks participants to name the top 3 public safety problems within your community and what conditions must be present for the community to be safe and equitable. Those are just a few of the examples. We took the questionnaire to community leaders and neighbors over on the far east side.
Don't come in thinking you're going to fix us. We don't need to be fixed. We need opportunities. Where's our community centers? What happened to our playgrounds? What happened to us having an opportunity to walk to the store on a sidewalk on the Far East Side? Why do we have to walk in the street?
Well, the city says it's received more than 4,900 responses so far, and this survey will be available until August 31st. You can find a link on our website. Just go to theindychannel.com. Let's take a look at our Thursday forecast as you plan out your day. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, Lauren, as we make our way out the door here this morning, more in the way of cloud cover than we've seen the past few days, and that's going to continue into the afternoon hours. So it's not the best pool day as far as probably getting a suntan. That's what you're looking for, but it's still going to be warm. It's still going to be muggy as temperatures climb up into the 80s, so you could definitely get into the water. And today we do not have any threat of thunderstorms going forward. Mostly anything we would see would just be some general shower activity. So by all means, you can still head to the pool. UV index, though, with the cloud cover being there, medium instead of high like it has been. Going forward in this forecast, it's all about the heat that builds in. We're into the 90s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The humidity comes way up as well. We'll talk all about this forecast and beyond in your 7-day coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. A judge has allowed some body cam footage from the officers who arrested George Floyd, that video to be released. After the break, a look at the newly released footage and how this could impact this case. Lauren?
And thousands of American Airlines employees could soon be out of a job. Coming up, why the company's top executives say the move could be necessary. The time right now is 5:41. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. New video is shedding light on the moments leading up to George Floyd's death. That footage had not been released to the public as it is considered evidence.
We want to warn you that some of the images you may see, you may find to be quite disturbing. A judge released a portion of that video yesterday. Callan Gray reports on what she saw in that video.
What you don't see in this security camera footage of officers Thomas Lane and Alexander King is Lane knocking on the driver's side window first with a flashlight, saying to Floyd, "Let me see your hands through the glass." In Lane's body camera footage, Floyd appears to be startled. His left hand is up. He opens the door slightly, saying sorry. Lane again asks to see both hands, Floyd telling him, "I didn't do nothing." The video shows Lane pulling out his gun and pointing it at Floyd, as he again orders Floyd to put his hands up. In the video, we see Floyd at the direction of Lane put them on the steering wheel, leaning his head forward. It appears Floyd begins to cry. Lane then pulls Floyd out of the vehicle by his arm and handcuffs him with the help of King. About 6 minutes into the video, they walk him over to the squad. That's when they ask Floyd if he's on something. He says no. When asked why he's acting erratic, he says, "I'm scared." The body camera footage shows them searching him at the squad, but they struggle for 3 minutes to get Floyd into the vehicle. First, both officers try to get him to sit in the back seat, Floyd telling them he's claustrophobic. At one point, he starts to sit down, telling them he'll count to 3 and then go in, and begins to close his eyes to count. Then the video shows Lane going around to the other side of the squad and trying to pull Floyd through. Floyd does end up going through the vehicle, coming out the other side. At that point, Derek Chauvin appears in the video, holding on to Floyd. Then King comes around, and it appears Chauvin and King bring Floyd to the ground. The video shows them restraining him. King is positioned at Floyd's torso with at least one knee on his back. Lane appears to be holding Floyd's legs. Chauvin has his knee on Floyd's upper back and neck area.
That was Callan Gray reporting this morning. Prosecutors have said that Chauvin knelt on Floyd's neck for 8 minutes, 46 seconds. But according to the footage, it was actually about 9 minutes and 30 seconds. You can also hear Lane ask multiple times whether they should roll Floyd on his side, as Chauvin says, quote, "Just leave him." All 4 officers have been fired and are facing criminal charges. A civil suit against the officers in the city of Minneapolis has been filed by George Floyd's family.
At 5:48, a resolution passed by the Asheville City Council in North Carolina is making national headlines. Council members voted unanimously Tuesday to provide reparations to the city's Black residents. It does not mandate direct payments. Instead, it will make investments in areas where Black residents there have faced disparities. That includes things like developing strategies to increase home ownership and access to other affordable housing, increasing business ownership and career opportunities, and closing the gaps in healthcare, education, and fairness within the criminal justice system. A community reparations commission will provide recommendations on how to implement the reparations in the short and long term.
Now time for Democracy 2020. With just under 4 months to go to Election Day, President Trump is shaking up his re-election campaign. Brad Parscale is out as a campaign manager, and Bill Stepien is now in. And here are the details. Stepien and Parscale were both part of the president's 2016 campaign. The president said on Facebook that Parscale will keep his role leading digital and data strategies and be a senior advisor to the campaign. Now, this announcement comes at a time when Mr. Trump is trailing Joe Biden, the Democrat, by double digits. Now time to check your forecast as you head outdoors, Todd Clausen. At least here in Johnson County and Franklin, you may think, ooh, it's breezy, it's going to be cooler, but that's not the case. It's really sticky and muggy out there.
Yeah, you know, that humidity came way up, and then the rainfall that we dealt with last night and then into the morning hours helped contribute to some of that mugginess out there, Raphael. And as far as rain chances go going forward throughout the next couple days, there will be a few each and every day, but they're only in the slight category. And essentially, it's just going to be a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm as we get into the weekend hours. There are a lot of dry hours, and there's a lot of hazy sunshine heading our way, as I'll show you in just a little bit. Right now, though, we have clouds in place, and today is not one of those days where we're going to have a ton in the way of sunshine out there. And as far as the showers go, they've basically now made their way off to the north of Indianapolis. A few light ones here in Carmel as well as Noblesville. Up now just to the east of Cicero, over into the Elwood and Alexandria area as you work your way into portions of Madison County. So it's not a very wet morning for us, but there are a few lingering showers. The heavier shower activity is if you're heading up Interstate 69 towards the Fort Wayne area, but all those showers continue to push off towards the northeast, and they'll be off into Michigan here pretty quickly now this morning. However, it is going to take a little while for us to thin the clouds out across the area, and so as we work our way throughout the course of the day, it's a mostly cloudy Thursday for us. but especially as we work our way into the afternoon hours, I think the clouds will start to clear out, and I think probably it's going to be a pretty nice evening for us as skies will eventually become mostly sunny right before sunset. But here's the view from downtown off towards the southeast right now, and you can see that we're dealing with some clouds in place. They're moving pretty quickly with that breeze that Raphael mentioned, and the winds up there out of the southwest at 20 miles per hour right now, with a temperature of 75 degrees in Indy, 74 in Tipton, 75 though, pretty common number from Bloomington down towards Bedford. Here's your dew point scale for the day today. Essentially, it doesn't move, so the humidity that's out there right now, that's how it's going to feel throughout the entire day today, but there will be some improvement going forward in the cloud cover. By 6 o'clock, again, those clouds are starting to decrease. Temperatures today, a little cooler than they have been in the 80s. By the end of the week, though, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, look at this. We are back up into the 90s with about a 20 to 30% chance of just a pop-up storm over the course of the weekend. The bigger story, the heat and humidity, obviously, as temperatures will be climbing into the low to mid 90s with heat index values that will be over 100 degrees, especially it looks like, Lauren, as we get into Sunday afternoon.
All right, Todd, thank you. Let's take a look at traffic right now as you're starting your Thursday. Here's a look up on the northwest side at I-65 and I-465 in the dog leg. You can see traffic is moving along just fine in all directions there. Right now, as you're heading out on the roads around the metro area, the good news, there are no crashes out there to slow you down at this early hour. Raphael?
So, Lauren, several public figures and major companies had their Twitter accounts hacked on Wednesday. We're told that this was all part of a Bitcoin scam. You see the accounts of former President Barack Obama, former Vice President Joe Biden, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Kanye West, Uber, and Apple, just to name a few, all breached. Messages encouraged followers to send Bitcoin to an address. Many verified users had accounts locked down for hours as the company investigated. Twitter says that hackers targeted its employees with access to internal systems and tools, but it's still unclear at this moment who is behind that massive attack.
Raphael, American Airlines plans to furlough thousands of its employees this fall, and executives say potentially 25,000 employees could receive notices. That includes around 10,000 flight attendants and 2,500 pilots. The company says furloughs could happen on October 1st. That's the same day the federal government lifts a ban impacting airlines that took federal bailout money. The bailout temporarily bars those airlines from enacting layoffs, pay cuts, and involuntary furloughs. Revenue for the airline was down more than 80% last month compared to a year ago as the pandemic continues to cause a decrease in travel. Well, there is a new water coaster launching this season at Holiday World, and you can be one of the first people to ride it. We have your chance to win tickets coming up at 6 o'clock. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana on this Thursday.
And we do want to get a check of our forecast with Todd Clausen as you're heading out the door. Todd, it's a little breezy out there and kind of sticky.
Yeah, you know, it's breezy and it's also humid, and the humidity is not going to change. That breeze should subside a little bit as we go throughout the course of the day. And as far as the rainfall, we had that solid line of storms that was coming in yesterday evening in the western side of the state. All that's left are a few very, very light showers that you can see streaming towards the Muncie area. Temperatures right now in the 70s. Overall, mostly cloudy today. Can't rule out a chance of a shower or two in the forecast. And that humidity, though, it's going to stick with us throughout the entire day. We'll dive into your forecast for the weekend coming up when you join us at 6 o'clock right here on Good Morning Indiana.